Hey, what is going on guys? RvzStealth here, and in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at a few new strong top lane picks for patch 7.4. So I'm not going to be doing a tier list for top lane for this patch. I feel like most of the champions are still in the same spot they were in last patch, besides the champions I'm going to talk about in this video. So these champions in the video here are going to be ones that are benefiting from the fervor buffs that's making them quite a lot stronger in patch 7.4. So with that being said, let's get started. Alright, so the top two champions in this patch that are definitely a lot stronger with the fervor buffs are Fiora and Kled. So right now, Fiora and Kled, I'd say that Fiora is probably tier 1 in this patch right now, and then Kled, I'm not sure exactly where I'd rank him. He'd be at least tier 1.5, maybe even tier 1 in this patch. He actually does have the second highest win rate for any top laner in 7.4. He isn't played a whole lot though. He's only got a 3% pick rate, whereas Fiora has like a 10% pick rate, so you definitely can't tell too much by the win rate as to how strong he really is. But I think like it's just a matter of time before people do start to pick up Kled and realize that he is pretty strong. For example, with a lot of the other top laners getting nerfed recently, like Jace, Maokai, Kled really hasn't been nerfed at all in the past, and he's also been indirectly buffed right now. So I think that in this patch and in the future patches, we will be seeing a lot more Kled in the top lane. The black cleaver changes in this patch are also helping out Kled and Fiora. If you guys don't know what happened to the black cleaver, the health got increased by 100 and the AD got reduced by 10, as well as the cost got decreased by I think 50 or 100 gold. So that is definitely going to be nice for these bruiser top lane champions, and it is more of a nerf for like the assassins and the AD carries that were building black cleaver. So right now, like Kled, Fiora, Darius, these top laners are benefiting quite a bit from these changes in this patch. And then one last thing to note for Fiora is that Maokai actually got nerfed in this patch. Fiora got indirectly buffed, and Fiora's always been a pretty good counter to Maokai, and I feel like people are still gonna play Maokai in this patch. As long as he's played in the competitive scene, he is still gonna see play in solo queue. So if the enemy team does lock Maokai, Fiora is a great pick against him. She always has been a great pick against Maokai, and she's even gonna be a better pick against him in this patch. And then speaking of Darius, he is also another top laner who is benefiting from Black Cleaver as well as Fervor. Now in this patch, I'm not completely sure whether like Fervor's better on him or Grasp or Courage. It really just does depend on the matchup, I'd say. If you are in a favorable matchup and you want to go aggressive, then I would definitely run Fervor in this patch. If you are in a harder matchup though, then Grasp or Courage might still be a little bit better. So the next champion here is going to slot into around the tier 2 in the tier list, and it's Tryndamere. So Tryndamere right now, I think he's definitely a pretty good pick. I never really rate him too high though, because I feel like he's a bit of a lackluster champion in the sense that he doesn't really team fight really well, especially if the enemy team does have a lot of peel. You really have to have good game knowledge on Tryndamere, and you need to know how to split push as him to be successful on the champion. So I feel like if you just don't have a lot of experience in the top lane or experience on the champion, then it isn't really going to be the best pick for you. But if you have played a lot of Tryndamere, you know when to split push, you know how to split push, I think he can be a great pick in this patch, especially with the fervor buffs. And then next up here is going to be Kale, and Kale would probably slot into around the tier 1.5 in this patch. So Kale's always been a pretty good top lane pick. She's a very reliable pick just because she is a ranged top laner with her E. It allows her to easily CS in the laning phase. You don't really have any super hard matchups as Kale, so if you can get your CS, if you can scale with Kale, then once you do reach that late game, you're going to do a lot of damage, and you're always going to be pretty useful because of your ultimate. You also are benefiting from the fervor buffs in this patch, and Kale is one of the champions, or she's a champion where fervor is just so strong on her, so any buff to fervor is definitely going to be a nice buff to Kale. And then the final champion that I would move up this patch to tier 1.5 is Aurelia. So Aurelia right now in this patch, she is actually a good pick against Kled. Kled really doesn't have too many bad matchups, but Aurelia is actually doing pretty good against him. She can also stand her ground against Fiora. I said that the Fiora matchup is more of a skill matchup, because if Fiora can get her W off when you go for your stun, then you are probably going to lose that trade, but you do definitely have the potential to burst the Fiora Fiora down once you do hit your Sheen Spike and once you do hit level 6. Now she is also a great fervor user too, so overall in this patch Aurelia is stronger and she is a great pick too. And then lastly, Renekton, Jax, and Yasuo would be a few other notables that would get a little bit better in this patch and that would move up a little bit. I still don't think that they're like top tier quality because I don't really see why you'd play someone like Jax when you can play like Fiora, who can basically do the same thing that Jax does but quite a bit better. And same thing kind of goes for Renekton. He is a great top lane pick, he's a good lane bully, but he falls off pretty hard in the late game. And why wouldn't you pick someone like a Kled or Fiora who also do have pretty strong early games, but do also scale really well into the late game. But with that being said, guys, I hope you did enjoy the video. If you did, then be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you have yet to already. So thanks for watching, have an awesome day, and I will see you in my next video.